Not long ago, I did the unbooking for Free League's Realms of the Three Rings and Keeper of the Elven-rings expansions for the One Ring and the Lord of the Rings RPGs respectively. After having gone deeper into it, is it worth the amount of money that you have to pay to get your hands on it? Welcome to the GMS Magazine review videos. Realms of the Three Rings is a very ambitious undertaking to illuminate the twilight days of the Eldar in their last strongholds, trying to enrich the world with details, locations both anew, and rules to play with powerful elf lords. Realms of the Three Rings serves as a guide to the West-elves, their fading realms at the end of the Third Age, and the heroic, even a little bit, melancholic defense against the encroaching shadow as Sauron prepares to take over Middle-earth. We all know how that ended. It functions primarily as an inspirational resource for lore masters, but any fan of Tolkien will find this book really, really interesting and very gratifying. It's amazing. The book structure is divided into 3 core chapters and an appendix. In chapter 1, called Where the West-elves Still Linger, very poetic, it provides an in-depth look at the 3 remaining realms of the Eldar in the West Linden, Rivendell and Lothlorien, along with a concise history of the elves from the Elder Days to the Third Age and rules for player heroes visiting these enchanted lands. Chapter 2, The Days Darken, looks into the overarching narrative elements presenting Sauron's plans to bring ruin upon the elves. These schemes are very detailed and involve specific lore master characters and their agendas, offering a framework for adventure. In Chapter 3, Landmarks describes 12 sites of interest to explore, some familiar from Tolkien's writings, and others that have been created specifically for the game. The appendix introduces rules for creating elven player heroes hailing from Rivendell or Lorien, and guidelines for playing powerful elf lords in solo campaigns. This book represents much of Tolkien's established lore, covering the history of the Eldar from the Awakening, the Wars of Beleriand, the forging of the Rings of Power, the downfall of Númenor, and the Last Alliance, all leading up to the end of the Third Age. The roles of figures such as Círdan, Elrond, Galadriel, Celeborn, Gil-galad, Glorfindel, Eladan, and Elrohir are upheld very much in keeping to the source material. The fundamental nature of the 3 rings, Narya, Vilya, and Nenya, their purpose to preserve and ward against decay, is central to the setting's core. Beyond this lore, the book introduces a significant amount of new material, all of it inspired by Tolkien's narrative. It has both expanded on geography and locality, more specific places. So, for example, Linden is fleshed out with descriptions of Forlinden and Harlinden, and the twin harbours of Midland, Highland, and Neverland, complete with specific buildings like Gil-galad's palace, the Arantarion, the Forge of the Smiths, and Círdan's Tower. The concept of the 9 houses of Midland, which is something like the Elven guilds, adds a very interesting and new social dimension to this realm. Rivendell sees new locations, such as the caves of Naudathol, housing the war smithies, and Edestor's Miruvor distillery, the ancient hoary old chestnuts, and the pinnacle of eagles, giving a more tangible sense of Elrond's sanctuary. Lothlorien gets areas like Erin-Fernin, Woods of Swift Waters, and more conceptual expansions like Fortalf and Lostalf, defining its northern and southern borders. And if I am not pronouncing these names correctly, please let me know and tell me how, because Jesus. New characters and personalities. Here we go. Among the elves of Lindon, Aragar, keepers of the Arantarion, Galdor of the Quill, Círdan's secretary, Gaethel of the Anvil, master smith, and Lady Maltian, the architect, are introduced, each one with distinct roles and personalities. Rivendell is home to Damrong the smith, an apprentice of Celebrimbo who later forged the cursed blade Metacharm, tell me how to pronounce that, and Glinel the Slayer, an elf warden with a personal vendetta against the spirit Cothling. Lothlorien's court includes Indoliniel, Galadriel's handmaiden, and Gandalim, the minstrel. Adversaries specific to the game's plot include Morthos, the Dark Whisper, a tormented unhoused elf spirit serving Sauron, Cothling, the Weasel Spirit, an ancient shape-shifting servant of Morgoth and Sauron with a deep-seated hatred for Elrond's house, and Arblod, the Misguided, an elf manipulated into stirring conflict between Lindon and the dwarves. Yeah, that was difficult. So, there are also some unique items, like the creation of the potent and yet spiritually cursed blade Takarm, the dragon belt of fire warding, a treasure that becomes a catalyst for conflict, the elvish term Hanhanen for those delaying their departure to the west, and 3-ship year for troubled times at the havens. The localized phenomena like Gearthul, Ulmus Blanket, a Yule fog in Lindon, and Isiongorn, a local liquor. The presence of stone herders, unique man-shaped creatures acting as caretakers of the stone giants. These additions that I have so butchered in my pronunciation are designed to provide narrative hooks and challenges, expanding existing lore but not contradicting it. This book is utterly gorgeous. Gorgeous. I took a proper look in my unbooking video, so take a look at it, but some things are worth repeating. The layout is clean, with plenty of air around the columns to make sure it doesn't feel cluttered, and it is easy on the eyes. Again, I really wish there was a bit more separation between the paragraphs, but then that's just me. There's nothing wrong with it the way it is, it's just that from people like me it would be better for accessibility. The illustrations are exquisite. The level of detail, the delicate lines, and the perfectly chosen palette of the colors for the illustrations reflect the theme perfectly, and they are so perfectly drawn and painted that you could argue they are elvish in their craft. Seriously, it's just stunning, really stunning. As you can expect from Free League, and given how other books in the series have panned out, the quality of the writing in Realms of the Three Rings is very high. The prose is evocative, often echoing the lyrical and melancholic tone characteristic of Tolkien's style. Descriptions have plenty of detail, helping you to truly visualize things like, and I quote, white harbors with slender towers, green valleys ringing with music and laughter, and ancient woods of gold and silver. The elves' deep connection to their lands, their ancient memories, and their thoughtful outlook on life are conveyed very, very well indeed. This book excels in describing the an earthly feeling of peace and wonder that pervades elven realms, and the unique, even altered perception of time within them. This attention to atmosphere is fantastic and demonstrate not just a profound knowledge for the canon, but the utmost respect for it. The core themes of the fading of magic, the long defeat, the burden of immortality, and the power of hope and wisdom against the encroaching shadows are all faithfully represented. The characterizations of elf lords present in the original books are consistent with the literary portrayals, maintaining their wisdom, authority, and emotional burdens. For example, Elrond's protective nature over Rivendell and his family, and Galadriel's immense power and ancient wisdom are very clearly reflected. The new elements are very seamlessly integrated. They feel less like an arbitrary additions and more like plausible elaborations on existing geographical or historical footnotes. The new individuals and their backstories, such as Tamrom's connections to Celebrimbor and Eregion, or the origins of the Malum trees in Lothlorien, are thoughtfully written to deepen the narrative in a sensible way. Sauron's schemes shine for their cunning and psychological depth, reflecting his mastery of manipulation and exploitation rather than relying solely on overt military or magic might. Realms of the Three Rings is, without a doubt, an exceptionally well thought out supplement for the One Ring role-playing game. It navigates the delicate balance of expanding upon Tolkien's text while preserving their profound depth and melancholic beauty very, very well indeed. The sheer volume of rich, evocative detail provided for Lindon, Rivendell, and Lothlorien is fantastic. They feel vibrant and authentic despite their fading glory. For me, though, this book's greatest strength is the sophisticated portrayal of Sauron's machinations, moving beyond warfare to explore psychological and political manipulations that are very congruent with the deviousness of the Dark Lord's character. This provides lore masters with a brilliant framework for morally complex and emotionally engaging situations. The new characters and localized lore are integrated into the canon of Middle-earth with such care that they feel like organic extensions of the existing works. While some minor adjustments could enhance accessibility for a broader audience and refine the balance of power for Elf Lord's character in play, especially in solo mode, these are really minor critiques against an otherwise superb achievement. Realms of the Three Rings is such a beautiful addition to the last days of the Eldar. This volume is a must-have for any lore master wishing to immerse their players in the beauty and struggles of the elves of Middle-earths. And I would love to hear from you if you are a Tolkien, big aficionado with great knowledge, if you have read this, if you told me your opinions, because I just love the work, but I am no wise man whatsoever. So please, please, please let me know. But until the next time, thank you very much indeed for having been there. It is truly and genuinely appreciated, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Take care.